Geoff Tate, lead singer from Queensrÿche. You are on tour with Metallica to support your new album, Operation Mindcrime. That's your third album, but I believe this is your first time in Norway.
Yeah, first time. We've been to Europe. This is our third time in Europe, but the two previous times we haven't been able to play in Norway due to the fact of some strange law that they had saying that two foreign bands couldn't play in the country at the same time. So now they've taken that law off the books, so here we are.
Really, I wasn't aware of that law. But you are supporting Metallica. They are on tour with their album, Injustice for All. Would you have preferred to do the headlining yourself, or do you think it's okay to support a band like Metallica?
Well, I think it depends on where you're strongest. We haven't sold that many records in Norway yet, so obviously we haven't played here, So it's good to come as a support to a place that you're not selling many records in yet, so that you can sell more records next time you come back.
Metallica is a thrash band, and you play more heavy metal, or you've also been called a progressive band. How well do you feel that you fit the bill? Do you think you can win over some Metallica fans to become Queensrÿche fans?
I don't know, really. I think it's too hard for me to tell you. This is the first time I've ever heard Metallica's music. The last couple of nights we played with him, so I can't really see what somebody would see. If a Queensrÿche fan would like Metallica, I find it kind of hard to understand. But I think after people see us play, that they like what we do, because I think we do a good job live.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to see you tonight. You will obviously be playing a lot of new tracks from your new album, Operation Mindcrime, and it's a really strong release. This is a concept album. Can you take us through the story you're telling on the album?
Well, see, it's sort of a very involved fictional look at contemporary America, and it's based on three characters. Sister Mary, who is a ex-prostitute now turned nun, and Nikki, who's a street kid, dropped out of school, heroin addict, and Dr. X, who's a sort of well-educated, cold, manipulative terrorist. And it deals with social issues and sort of a love relationship between Nikki and Mary, and death, life, manipulation of people through their weaknesses.
It's not very often that metal bands make concept albums. What inspired you to make an album like that?
Well, our last two albums have been sort of very loosely based conceptual albums. And on this one, we wanted to really define the storyline idea and build all the music around a solid storyline that flowed throughout the album. So, the characters were inspired by people we've met on the road, and traveling to different countries, and drinking with people that sometimes we wished we hadn't met. And but there's a lot of interesting people out there in the world, and the more you communicate with people, and the more interesting things you find out, it's always good for a good story.
I like this album a lot, and you probably finished it a long time ago, and you spent a long time in the studio. When you listen to it now, is there anything you would like to have changed when you hear the final product?
Oh, maybe make it a bit longer. Probably.
I think all your albums are quite different, which is very cool. But why do they turn out to be different in the end? Is that you are maturing, or is that a decision you make before you write the new music, or you mix the new music?
Yeah, it's sort of a definite idea we have on trying to make each release stand on its own as sort of a what's the word? Sort of a marker in our history, you know, sort of saying, like, this is our warning era, Rage for Order's here, and Mindcrime's here, you know, sort of like they make their own statement, you know.
I think your music is kind of unique. It's easy to hear that it's Queensrÿche playing, but which bands have been your influences through the years?
I think in our early days it was more hard rock, you know, like, you know, Maiden and Priest, Scorpions, you know, bands like that. But anymore we really don't listen to much besides what we do. You know, we're sort of involved in writing our own music, that listening to other music is sort of something we don't have much time for anymore, you know. And there's so many new bands out, it's hard to keep up with, you know, what's going on. So we're sort of very much into what we do and concentrating on writing our own stuff, you know.
So when you're home, when you're not touring and recording, what kind of music do you prefer to listen to then?
I listen to classical music, pretty much. Old jazz, Billie Holiday, Miles Davis, stuff like that. Just because it's so different than what I do, it's nice for a change, you know.
You are 3 albums into your career. Can you briefly take us through the history of Queensrÿche so far?
We started in 1981 in Seattle, Washington, which is in the northwest corner of the United States. And we met at a fish and chips restaurant. Everybody was there eating because it's a very cheap place to eat, and we were all very poor musicians at the time. And we got talking over a few beers that maybe we should get together and play, you know. So we met in Scott's, our drummer, basement, and we've been there ever since. It's been like 5 or 6 years now we've been together.
In a couple of hours you will hit the stage here in Oslo with the rest of Queensrÿche, and you seem very calm. Do you ever get nervous before hitting the stage?
No, not usually. The only time I'm ever really nervous usually is when we play London, New York, or Los Angeles, because those are the industry is there in those towns, in the music industry, and everybody's out to see you, and every band that you know is out to see you, and you always want to do a really good show, right? So those are usually the only times I'm nervous, but most every other time I'm drinking lots of coffee because I'm trying to wake up, because I usually don't get up until late in the afternoon, usually.
So far you have released 1 EP and 3 full-length albums. Can we expect a live album from Queensrÿche in the near future, maybe?
No, not in the near future. We're going to sort of continue on in our studio sort of trek for a while. Usually, I think when a band releases a live album, it's a signal that the band is breaking up, or they're going to change directions completely, or they haven't got any other ideas, because they put out a live album to sort of take up the time, you know. Most people release a studio album every other year or every year, and a live album sort of fills the gap if you don't have a new album ready. So we've got new ideas for the next album, so we're not going to be releasing a live album for a while.
You are 6 weeks into this quite long tour. Do you ever get tired of the life on the road?
Very much. Not yet, though. We're sort of just getting started. We had 2 years off, so we're anxious to tour, you know.